Bonjour peeps, good afternoon. This is Neshi Lokatz, and you are watching the daily live stream that we do here at our main fan page for Star Nations organization, which is the Star Nations Magazine, Radio Network, and Publishing page. I do this daily live stream based on the card draw that I do in the morning. And the intention for the card draw is to have my spiritual team show me what's the most important energy to know about today. And so, and I've been doing this for a really long time, not just for the live streams, but just in general. So I thought I had this bright idea last May to offer a spiritual conversation based on the card draws, and not only that, I like hanging out with you guys. I do. So, hey, Rochelle's just come into the chat, and so has Jerry. Good afternoon, ladies. I'm so glad you're able to join me on a Sunday afternoon. It's November 4th, and it's been raining here since last night. And it's not supposed to end until like tomorrow morning. So it's wet, it's cold, and it's that kind of feeling with the weather when you'd rather be baking or reading a good book, right? And curling up under the covers and snuggling in. But for me, I don't get the choice of either one of those two because we're in the midst of the most deep part of creating the next issue of Star Nations magazine, the November issue. And it's during this time frame that we call it the crunch time. Because all of the last pieces of the editing is being done, and any changes that we're going to make to the magazine, decisions have to be made and implemented. And so this is the busy time, right, for the production of the magazine. So it might be a cozy, rainy time in front of the fireplace, but I'll have my laptop. I'll be working on the magazine. Rochelle says, hello, did a drawing with oil pastels. It turned out as a third eye. Interesting. Wow. I'm so glad you pulled out your pastels and started working on a drawing. Yeah, your inner child must have been like really whooping it up. Yay, we get to have some fun. That's really nice. Oil pastels. My good friend, one of my sisters, Christine Pollock, she is a spiritual artist. She has been using oil pastels for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, I guess. Something like that. And she's tested out other mediums too. And she has shared it with her sisters. She did India ink, and she's done, there was something else with ink. I can't remember the name of the type of medium that is. It'll come to me. But she also has used, I don't think she's used acrylic. She may have, but I don't think so. And she also has done watercolor and a couple of other mediums, right? And I'm trying to talk her into offering a class here at Star Nations in 2019. A very small group of people, like no more than 6. And bringing her, she wants to teach something about pastels if she does a class. And she's considering it. Right now she is illustrating a children's book. And so it's not until she gets done with those illustrations will she have time to really, take a look at possibilities of teaching. So try not to pressure her too much, but, I think it'd be like way cool to have a class like that. She wants it. She said if she would do something like that, it wouldn't be based completely, it wouldn't be based on how well you draw. That wouldn't be the case at all. And so anyway, that's a possibility in 2019. Hey, Stephanie, I'm so glad you could join us this afternoon. Yeah, I've got hot tea today. It's dandelion root. Have you guys ever drank that dandelion root tea? It's not bad. Of course, there's no caffeine in it, but it's good, a good detox. And with as much pastry stuff I've been eating the last few days, I needed it. Jackie's here too. Yay, Jackie. And Elise just joined us too. Hello, Elise. So the cards today we've had before, but maybe not in this combination. And I'm seeing another pattern or a theme, if you will, that Spirit has been going for us. So not too long ago, the last 3 weeks or so, we are being shown a lot about change, and more change, that it was coming, and that we were manifesting this change, and that it was coming closer and closer. And then we got a card that said that it was, basically right at the front door, right? And we had to make a decision to allow it in or not, and to ground it to the earth plane. Do you remember that? And using our gifts to do the grounding, right? Yeah. So I think we're Spirit is on another theme, because wait till you see the cards. It'll be interesting to see what you guys have to say about that. Let's see. All right. Dandelion root. Yes, it's roasted dandelion root. You can buy it commercially. And yeah, you steep it just like you do tea, because it is kind of a tea. It's a tonic, actually. And yeah, it's just, Paul's home on vacation. He was supposed to go hunting, right? But he didn't. I'm kind of glad. I'm very appreciative of that. But with him home, he's also bringing home a lot of things that usually doesn't get in the house during the week. So we had a lot of pastries and that sort of thing. And so I've been eating more of that kind of stuff. And my body is going, whoa, wait a minute. We need to get back on balance here. So I know that the dandelion root will help me do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, Julie's here too. Hello, Julie. So good to have you in the chat again. The cards that I drew this morning, I had to sit down and say, really? We're going to take that route. Okay. Well, let's get the gang prepared. The cards that came today, I'm going to show you all three of them all at one time so you can kind of see them. And in the order that they came in. Let's see if I can do this. All right. So it started out with Fox. Fox was the first card. And the second card was Hunter. And the third card is Elder. Okay. And so the first card, Fox, jumped out all by itself. All by itself. And the second cards came together as a pair when they came out of the deck. And I know that with new cards, sometimes they stick together, and these do. And so I had to ask about these two cards from my team. I said, are these two cards, because I didn't look at them. I asked them, are these two cards meant for the card draw, for that information for today? I got to guess. So when I turned them over, I thought, we got Hunter again, and we've got the Elder. Now, we haven't had them in this combination before. That's the truth. And so it's just interesting to see how the information that is happening, right? Yeah. Let's see. Hi, Julie's saying hi, Neshi, and Elise is saying, how's the mag coming? It's coming. Let's see. I am actually looking at edits this afternoon and getting them all compiled. I need to finish my edits. I haven't done that yet. And so by, I would say after supper, I will be able to ship all of the edits over to the elves, and so they can implement those edits, and then I'll get back the final PDF. Hopefully, see, I should have that PDF back probably by Tuesday. Yeah. So we're moving right along. Yeah. Marlene's with us too. Hello, Marlene. Yeah, Marlene, we're not doing individual card draws. It's actually for a group reading. The intention for the card draw every day is, what is the energy that's most important for us to know about for our highest good and the highest good of all. And so then we discuss we share the information, and then we have a conversation about it. And so individuals can take what resonates with them, So in a way, it is kind of like an individual card draw in a way, because you're going to take away what's important for you, right? Yeah, yeah. So, and it's part of the conversation, we have people who make comments and ask questions, or share something, from their life regarding the energy of the cards. And so it really is about a conversation, and to be with like-minded and like-hearted people for a bit during a day, right? Because sometimes we don't have that opportunity to do that, especially if you have a 9 to 5 um, out there in the world, right? Yeah. And have you noticed George hasn't been with me for these live streams for the since last Wednesday, actually, because Paul's home on vacation, and so the boys are having time together, and yeah, so it's been quiet up here. Although George sleeps through most of the shows, I have to say. Yeah. All right. So let's take that first card that came, Fox. Ooh, you know what I forgot to do? I looked at my phone. I almost got started. I need to share this out. I almost forgot. All right, we'll do it. Doesn't take long. I just need to pause the conversation just for a moment until I can find make sure my sound is down. I'm going to like it and share the live stream. So I normally just share it to my news feed and let my friends know that I'm live streaming and to please join me. And yeah, okay. I thought I misspelled something. There we go. And then we'll post that one. And then I usually share it to the closed group for Star Nations Radio Network, because that's where most of the active peeps hang out. And I'll just let them know I'm live streaming. And please join. There we go. And we'll do that. There, done. Done. So if you wouldn't mind doing that with me to do the share, I would appreciate it. The reason why we do that, is because it helps us to be in the news feed more often, number one. And number two, it's kind of like an energy worker civic duty is what I call it, is because, there's people out there that are in possibly their first kind of steps and looking for spiritual information. They've come to a realization that there's more to life than going to sleep, going to work, coming home, doing the dishes, that kind of stuff. And they could be searching. They're seekers, and they're searching for information. And so if we could be of any help at all, that's a good thing, right? Right. So if you wouldn't mind just liking and sharing it, and you don't necessarily have to share it. Thank you guys for sharing. I do know that, especially when you're first starting out, sometimes you're reluctant to let others know about your beliefs, right? And so you're kind of shy about it, and that's okay. Your self-confidence will build over time, and you'll start healing some aspects that hold you back. And so maybe you just share it with one other friend, or you might not want to put it on your timeline, and that's okay. You can share it to a group if you'd like, or just to a friend, whatever you feel comfortable with is good. So let's talk about about the fox, the spirit fox. Is trust your talents in changing times. Trust your talents in changing times. I just like, this is one of my favorite pictures, the fox. I like the feathers in his mane. Yeah. Let's see, in the background, I don't see any, there is some light language in the background. There's energy swirls in the background, and right at his chest, I don't know if you guys can see that, right at his chest, there's another image, and it looks like possibly a sign for the sun. Kind of looks like it to me. It's a circle with a dot in the center. Let's see if we can see that. Maybe you can see it better that way. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the sun. Yeah. And the fox is usually known for a shapeshifter, right? And when you have the trust your talents in changing times, is that sometimes we have to be flexible, right? We have to be flexible. And when we're using our talents, our gifts, and changing times, sometimes what we have to do is maybe grow with the times, right? Maybe there's an expansion. There's a possibility that you're not going to be doing or using your gifts the same way that you've always done. Yeah. Because we're all vibrating differently now. When we're following Grandmother Earth, her vibration, her frequency is already raised, right? And in order for us to even stay with her, to be with her, we have to raise ours as well, and we have to be within a space. It's like we're not going to match. Some people will match her exactly, but there's a range. There's a range that's acceptable, and so as long as we fall within that range, we'll stick with her. And when we use our gifts, our talents, the things that we've learned in classes, when we start applying them, we're applying them in a way that is perhaps slightly different than you're used to doing. For instance, years ago, the way that I would connect with my spiritual team is that I'd be working on something, right? For my soul contract. And I would meet with them. I would go into meditation and I would meet with them. And my usual question to them was, what's my next best step? Tell me about it. Show it to me. And I always got information, right? And in I think it was 2009. It was 2009, toward the end of the year or mid-year. It was like silent. It's like they weren't answering my question. It's like, what happened? All right. And what it turned out to be is that I had healed enough of the emotional and mental traumas that my vibration was what had been changed. I was asking the wrong question. Just because I asked the same question and got information, a conversation with it, it didn't work in the new vibration, in the new frequency. I needed to communicate a little bit differently with them, and ask the questions, but maybe in a different way. So that's what I mean. Well, let's see what Kyle has to say about Spirit Fox, and we'll talk about that. Page 74. All right, so Spirit Fox. It says, stay alert as change is in the air. All right, so remember when we started talking about change and change was coming? He was the one that brought the information. All right, so here he is back again. After we have realized we brought in that manifestation that we were working on, and now he's back, right, for another go round. Here we go. Elise says, I absolutely love foxes. We see them often here. Well, they could be one of your power animals too then, Elise, if you see them quite often. Hey, Leah Ray, good to see you in the chat. Welcome. And Marlene Farrell says, flow like a willow tree. Exactly. Exactly. we need to be flexible, right? Yeah. Hey, Tony's here too. Hey, Tony. Good to see you in the chat. And Rob, you're here too. Good to have you back, Rob. Kind of missed you, guy. And Rochelle says, just got back from the twilight zone of my cell phone. Oh, geez. Not again. Christine's here. Christine, my sister. And Leah Ray's here. You're here too. Good to see you. Hey, Christine, I was just talking about artwork. Rochelle took out her pastel and did a drawing for the first time in a long time, and so she shared that. And I was talking about you and talking about the different mediums that you have used. What is that one ink called? Is it alcohol? Alcohol inks, is that right? Yeah, okay. Because I told her that you work a lot in pastel and have used watercolor and other mediums, and I couldn't remember that until I saw your name, and then it clicked in. Oh yeah, alcohol. I think it's alcohol inks, if that's right. That's it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, and no pressure. I did kind of say that there's a possibility that you might teach a class here in 2019 on pastels. I think it was pastels, wasn't it? I don't remember. Anyway, we're reading about Fox because this is the card that we got first, okay? And that is trust your talents in changing times. Trust your talents in changing times. And Kyle writes that he says, stay alert as change is in the air. The spirit fox features his favorite animal of all time, the red fox, an amazingly resilient creature able to survive in urban environments or the freezing temperatures of the Arctic. Fox know what it's like to be hunted. For centuries, they've been sought for their precious fur when all they want to do is survive. So the spirit fox can help you overcome the energies of adversity and unfair treatment. Also, as urban foxes hide in cities and go about their business in darker hours, the fox offers the medicine of blending in. Blending in. It's kind of interesting. A thought just kind of went through my head is that there's more and more people, two-leggeds, that are awake, right? And accepted and realized the knowledge that that we're spiritual beings having a physical experience, right? Yeah. And so many times in the past, because I can remember this like in the 80s and the 90s, you really didn't talk about this kind of information out loud in public places. And not to a lot of people that you didn't know. Okay. And you can kind of see those first wavers. That's what we call them, right? Those energy workers, those light workers, those early ones, those first wavers. When they have a conversation, you can still kind of see them check around them to see who's here, who's in listening range, because they're used to being ridiculed, right? They're used to being told they're different. That they're crazy, and these days we just go ahead and have the conversation in public like this. This is a public forum. Anybody can come and listen to the live stream, right? And so it's not so much hiding, right? When we blend in now, we're blending in with people of like minds and like hearts. So it's not really hiding. Where it really is coming together in a way. And if you want to stand out, then you have to stand out differently than what you have in the past, right? Because basically everybody is here wanting to have a spiritual conversation. And they're not hiding it. But we are kind of blending in a way. Yeah. Oil pastel. Thank you, Christine, for sharing that. The possible class will be about oil pastel. All right. So Lisa's saying we have an insane whippoorwill. Hope he's not one of my spirit animals. He is not. Oh, I haven't heard a whippoorwill in years, literally years. We used to hear them a lot when I was a kid here in Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin. I haven't heard one in years. Whippoorwills. They should be gone by now, though, don't you think? Because they're a migratory bird. They're from the Southwest. Okay. All right. So Kyle goes on to say that the energies around you are changing at this time, and although it may not always be comfortable, you are equipped with all that you need to survive this shift. You're being presented with opportunities to reach spaces you've never encountered before. And this can make you feel on edge, but be open to the shifts occurring because they really are the answers to your prayers. The experience of being hunted or threatened is now behind you, and you're being invited to come out of your den and reveal your glory and your talents. Call upon the Spirit Fox Medicine to help you be seen for who you are and trust in your talents in order to be the best you can be in these changing times. I like that last sentence. The best that you can be in these changing times. So this fox medicine, we've already brought in that one manifestation that we're working on. We know that. And it's possible that when we were also asked to make plans, how are we going to get from point A to point B to reach our intention, our goal, right, with that manifestation? Because we're working on our soul contract. So with this one, I really do believe it's how we use our gifts. Yeah, to be open to using your gifts possibly in a different way, because we're in a different frequency, right? And it could be because we're learning to master those gifts and those talents in this new frequency. I think that's it. Feels right. Hey, Ann, good to see you too. Glad you're here. And Marlene says, I like that. Darcy's here too. Welcome, Darcy. It's so good to see you in the chat. For those who just joined us, this is the first card that came for today. Spirit Fox, trust in your talents in changing times. And I was just sharing that it's a possibility here that what Spirit is sharing with us is that we have the opportunity to use our gifts, apply our gifts in a slightly, or maybe not so slightly, new way. It's almost as if, we learned what we needed to learn to use our gifts in our old life, in our old vibration, in our old frequency. And now that we're sitting here in this new frequency and have shifted and healed enough of our emotional and mental traumas that we're receiving more and more information, right? That now we get to learn how, or actually not learn. How about this? Remember how to use our gifts that we came in with in a bigger way, in a more expansive way. How does that feel to you guys? That's the feeling I get with this card. It's not so much the shape shifting in the way that we normally would talk about shape shifting in fox medicine, camouflage, right? But I do believe that we're going to be using our gifts in a much more powerful way, right? Mm-hmm. Thanks, Percy. Yeah, that's the feeling I get from Fox anyway. And Hunter, we just recently had Hunter. This is the second card that came. Hunter. Track down your fears and your desires. We just had him like a day or two ago. And we talked about his tats and we talked about the symbols. And just above his head is the energy, the triple energy swirl, which is a symbol of Newgrange in Ireland. And the drawings in the background. We really discussed this card quite a bit. Track down your fears and your desires. That when you identify your fears, you're actually also identifying your desires because it's the flip side of the fear. And I used the example of the fear of public speaking or speech making, right? That it could be one of your gifts to be a person who uses their voice to spread good news, right? To the good vibration stuff. And yet you have a fear of public speaking. So when you face the fear, and maybe you go to a Rotary Club or something, and you learn how to speak in front of, or what is that? It's not Rotary. It's I just had the name and it went right out of my head. You know, the association where you do presentations and you learn how to do public speaking. I lost the word, lost the name. Michelle said that was profound. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to come out of your den. Yeah, it is. Sometimes it is. You know, and you really have to listen to your heart and your soul with that one when it's hard to come out of the den. Because maybe it is, you know, if you've done some healing, maybe it's time for integration. And so when you're doing integration, there's a time when it's really beneficial to be quiet, you know, to kind of be by yourself for a while, to really bring in and understand the feelings around that change, that integration piece. And that's okay, right? But if you're in the den because you don't want to come out because you're afraid to come out, then that's an entirely different story. then we're talking about facing the fears and getting to the root of that. Why is it that you want to hide? You know, and so that's an entirely different story. But sometimes it's okay, I think, to be in the den and to take some time, right? Toastmasters, that's it. Thank you, Jerry. You know, what I had this image in my head was, you know, the toasting. It was like, okay, that's not helpful, guys. My team, you know, that's not helpful. I actually need the word, please. Toastmasters. Thank you, Julie. Toastmasters. Yes, maybe it is. Maybe joining an association like that to face the fear. Right. Of course, you're doing other work too. You know, in order to really heal whatever that is. My belief is that you have to go through all four bodies: your physical, your mental, your emotional, and your spiritual bodies for it to be completely healed. And it takes time to do that. So you should get to the root of it. What is it about public speaking that frightens you so much, right? But still go to and join something like Toastmasters, so that it gives you the education piece and also begin the application part, because you don't get good at something without doing it. In order to get really good at something, you have to do it. Practice, practice, practice. The more often you do it, the better you get. And you know, when I used to teach space clearing classes, I used to tell the students that if you really want to be a really good space clearer, you have to do them. You're not gonna get really good at it unless you do them. Talking about it is okay, but until you actually start applying what you've learned, you don't hone those skills. You don't own those skills, and so you actually have to do it. Michelle says, my cousin was a member of the club and spoke in the Chicago area. Yeah, and I have friends too, who have joined it because they either wanted to get better at their presentation, or I had two friends who joined it because they're trying to overcome their fear. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when we face some of those fears, we actually, on the flip side of it, we find our desires. That's what this card, the information that Kyle shares, is about. Is that when we hunt, right? When we hunt for something, whether if you are a hunter, you know what it's like to track your prey, right? If you're not a hunter and you don't know the experience of that, you have to get to know the terrain. You have to get to know what you're hunting for. And so sometimes you have to sit back first and kind of take stock. You know, what is it that one of my fears that I feel is really holding me back? Because we have multiple fears, so we just don't have one at a time. Wouldn't that be nice if they only came one at a time? But which is the one that really holds me back? Because sometimes it can be a domino effect. You know, you heal one, and then there's three more behind it that are attached to it. So you've begun the healing process on those as well. So sometimes you have to take stock and select one. Just select one to start with. And also think about your desires. What is it that you want to do with this life? You know, what are the things that you know that you're good at, but you don't have time to do? Yeah, those are the things to consider. All right, when we put those two cards together, the fox and the hunter, do you remember in the reading about the fox, it says the fox is used to being hunted. It's been hunted for centuries for its precious fur. So then we get the hunter, right? The hunter. And the hunter is about tracking down your fears and your desires. So when you put these two together, it feels like what we're doing is we're tracking down those parts of our talents that we need for this shift, for this change that we're going through. You know, facing those fears around the talents, around our gifts. Why are we not using one of them? Or maybe we don't even, how about this one? If I've been asked this once, I've been asked 1,000 times. I don't know what my gifts are. How do I find out what my gifts are? Why am I even here? That's another one. Yeah. Because how the earth is changing in our ascension, right? We're needed. We're all needed. And we're all needed to use our gifts to get where we need to go. And when we're working together and we combine our vibration and our frequencies, that's all about that ascension, right? For humanity. So I think that these two cards are all about the talents, hunting them down. What are the fears? What's stopping you? What's interfering with you from learning how to use those or remembering how to use your gifts? And there's a rule of thumb that I use when we're talking about what are your gifts. And you have to be honest with yourself, okay? Is that what are the things that you're really good at without trying? that come to you naturally? That's a good question for this group. Think about it for a moment. In fact, let's do this. If you can, put both feet flat on the floor and sit as straight as you possibly can. And just take in a big deep breath in and just blow it out. Okay, we're just going to come to the moment, coming here, coming to the body. Big deep breath in and blowing it out. Okay. Yeah, and on this next one, what I'd like you to do is bring to you something that you do, that you enjoy doing, that comes to you naturally, and it's fun. Okay, so big deep breath in, blowing it out. Okay, then just breathing easy and naturally, and then asking yourself, what is one thing that I really like to do that brings me joy and comes to me naturally? And it can be anything. Okay, and the very first thing that pops into your mind, the very first thing, what is that? Because chances are, I got hot. We raised the energy up a little bit here. All right, so what was the very first thing that came to your mind, right? And you're looking for that feeling of that I always found that fun, or I enjoy that. And it was because it came to me naturally, right? It's one of those things that sometimes we take for granted. All right. Julie is saying writing. Mm-hmm. So that's one of your gifts, right? Do you feel it's like one of your gifts, Julie, when that came to you, and you probably already knew this, is that that is one of your gifts, right? Rochelle says listening to people's concerns and drawing. Christine says creating. Yeah. Actually, there's a couple for me. There's I do like to write as well. Usually, a lot of people don't know this. Now that everybody's going to know it. What I like to do is just write character descriptions, everything from eye color, hair color, make them into a real person, right? Another one that I'm really good at is puzzles or mysteries, finding the pattern. Yeah, I've always been good at that. Really good at that. And so those are the kinds of things that we can look at. If you're questioning, what are my gifts? That's one way to identify what that is. And so using your gifts to ground something to the earth plane. If you're creating, like I know my sister, the kind of artwork she does, maybe it's doing a sketch. Maybe it is, using your oil pastels and doing a drawing of, right? That's grounding it to the earth plane. If you're a writer, if you like to write, maybe it is writing a short story or even just a couple paragraphs about it. That's grounding it to the earth plane. Rochelle says, I'm great at trivia. So am I. That's one of the things I do well. Julie says, I've been writing since the 6th grade. Yeah. Wow. That's really cool. We're going to have to talk a little bit. What kind of writing you do? Because maybe you'll be able to do something for our magazine. That'd be kind of cool. Leah says, writing, drawing, and making good people smile. That's a good one. Darcy says, at first crochet, but second after you said fun, crystal readings. See, there you go, Darcy. That is really good. So, you're looking for ways that you can use your gift to help you get through these shifts and changes, right? Helping you to ground your manifestation, what you're manifesting to come into the physical world, using your talents, your gifts to ground that to the earth plane. Yep. Marlene saying, creating ideas, caring for others, and cooking. Basketball is my natural gift. Well, see, there you go. It's something that comes to you so easily that, like I said, sometimes we take it for granted. Yeah. Another one I have is languages. It's not to get conversational, although if maybe I spend more time with a particular language, I would be able to. But I've always found languages easy to remember certain words, phrases, that kind of thing. And pronunciations, it comes pretty easily to me. It's like I used to say, I could say water in 5 different languages. I'm multilingual in water languages. Oh my gosh. All right. So, Hunter, we're going to look up Hunter quick just to make sure that we get the nuance of it. So the message is track down all your fearful thoughts and feelings. When you find them, you will find your desires too. Right. And instead of being hunted down by your fears or other feelings that you have buried, become the hunter. You are being given confidence and strength at this time to use your power to make a difference. You're not here to cower away or live in the shadows. You're here to realize your fullest potential. But this can only occur when you step up and do what needs to be done. I agree with that. Because to me, that means that it's an all application. It's all an application. We have been spending a good part of our time in the past maybe few years in learning about, reading about, going to classes about spiritual stuff, and learning how to douse, learning this and learning that. Now is the time to start application. And even if you've learned something new like dowsing, right? Combine it with one of your gifts. So, for instance, you could douse on the frequency map of consciousness. Maybe that's what I should talk about on Thursday night. Okay. So the map of consciousness, you can use that to get the energy frequency of anything. And you can use it with dowsing. So for instance, let's say you did write something to ground whatever it is to the earth plane. And you want to make sure that it's at a 500 or above. That's the frequency of love, right? 500. And so what you can do is you can douse on it overall and find the frequency of it. So if it's below 500, then you start asking, okay, so is it in the first paragraph that is bringing down the frequency? Yes or no? If it's no, then you move on to the second paragraph. Is it second paragraph? If you get a yes with your dowsing, then there's words or the phrasing of something that's bringing down the frequency of that piece. So you're combining two things. You're combining your gifts and you're combining a talent. You're combining a tool with your gift. Okay. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Darcy says, I'm in a major shift right now, which I'm positive is why I came across this today. You're probably right. In fact, let's say you're right. Okay, Darcy, you're right. And Stephanie say, I like this freaking IEP review for my kiddo. Like I have read so much Star Nations is the only thing keeping me sane right now. Well, we're glad that we're here for you, Stephanie. That's for sure. Yeah, those IEPs, man, those can be really, really challenging, tough to have to get through. It's those hoops that you have to jump through, right? All that red tape stuff. Yeah. Hopefully you have a good team. I hope you have a good team. Um, yeah, those were not one of my favorite things to be a part of. Yeah. Sometimes I was when I advocate for somebody, I really do. I go all the way. Is what I'm trying to say. I would probably, yeah. And I was advocating for adults with disabilities. Those adults that were in the community-based program that I ran. I was the director of, and yeah, and had to sit through their IEPs when they were coming out of high school. They were in their last year, and they would be coming transitioning into our program, and so sometimes I had to sit in on that last IEP for them. And then as adults, it's carried over if they go into a group home and they have a social worker, right? And so then they're not called IEPs at that point, but they're the same thing basically. Yep. Marlene says, company here. Company. Thanks. You're welcome, Marlene. Thanks for being here. And Stephanie saying, yep. The team is shaping up slowly. Okay. Well, we can help you hold the sacred space for that. Is to have the best and optimal team for your son, the team members to come into place for his highest good, right? Yeah, we can hold the space for that. Yeah, we could easily do that. All right. So when this card, the Hunter card, arises, there could be an opportunity to face an aspect of your past or bring closure to a situation that's been haunting you. So possibly that goes back to facing those fears so that your desire will come through, right? That is no longer being blocked. And so maybe what you have to do is to heal another aspect of something you thought you already took care of. And we all have that, right? We all have that. You think that, okay, we're done with that one. And then somewhere down the line, something comes up and you think, oh man, I thought I dealt with that. Well, we did. In one of our four bodies we did, but now we're facing it in another one of our bodies. So if you took care of it on the physical plane, maybe you're now taking care of it on the mental or the emotional plane, right? Body. And so yeah, it does come back. And so maybe that could be the possibility here. Yeah, Stephanie's saying I have 14 documents I'm reviewing in addition to the draft IEP and the whole darn idea. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's why you've been making your physical health and a priority, right? Because we all know that what we ingest affects us completely. And so, Stephanie, you need the stamina. You need the stamina to go the full distance with these documents and the advocate work for your son, right? Yeah. Okay. Now we have to talk about one more card, and I know that we're running low on time here, but this is the third card that came, and it's the Elder. And it says, move beyond ancestral patterns. Move beyond ancestral patterns. Okay. So there's two things that came to me on this one, is that when we're talking about belief systems, right, is that sometimes there's a belief system that no longer supports us. We grew up with it, maybe as a child, right? As an adult, it doesn't support us at all anymore. And so we have to let that go or adjust it, right? Rewrite it for ourselves. And the term traditional, in a traditional way. And I always think about, but what part of the tradition? Is it for Native Americans? Is it before the first European contact? How soon after that? Are we talking about the 1700s? Are we talking about the 1800s? Are we talking about the 1900s? Are we talking about the 20th century? Because a tradition, a belief, really is only a thought that is repeated over and over and over again, right? And then when you do that and you have other people doing the same thing around the same thought, then it becomes a belief. So how much has changed for Native Americans from that time to now? A heck of a lot. And so what is a tradition, right? And those become part of the pattern, because we're always talking about our DNA, right? Is that we bring our ancestors are with us in spirit and they're helping us, yes. But there's also something they gave us, and that's our ancestral DNA. It's the positive and negative aspects of their evolution is in our blood and bones. Yeah. And I just read a recent book that actually talked about DNA and how it isn't necessarily true that we carry that DNA for certain things within our lineage, like in my family, heart disease. We can look at it from many different perspectives. If you're looking at it from a spiritual perspective, what happened to the heart chakra, right? If you're looking at it from an emotional perspective, where did that broken heart first begin around that topic? If we're talking about, the mental body, right, is understanding the circumstances that went along with that trauma and how that can be changed and shifted. And when we're talking about the physical body, that's where I just read this recent book, and it made me go, there's something to this. And that's the Dirty Genes by, was it Ben Lynch? And there was some information in there that I thought, okay, so there is a possibility that we can actually change this for our physical body. So as we're working through and doing the change, using our talents, our gifts and our talents to reach our goal with our intended manifestation, right? The things that we're creating, that we have to use our gifts for that. And sometimes those gifts and those talents are being blocked by fears. And so we have to hunt down the fears so we can heal those, remove the obstacle, clean up the debris, right? So we can actually access our gifts and our talents more than what we have been. And the other one, the last one, is the Elder card. And that, I believe, has to do with there's aspects that we can change. There's aspects that we can change, that we're not stuck in an old pattern, that we can actually change it, and for the positive, for a good reason. It will help us with that, realizing that manifestation and reaching our goal. That's a lot. This is a huge reading that we are given today. Huge information that we are given today by Spirit. Let's put it in order. Let's put it in order here. So that's what I get out of it. That's what I get out of it. There's a lot going on here. I think it's pretty deep stuff we were in today. So with that, remember what resonated with you, the information that you received today through the cards, is to embrace it. Pick it up and embrace it. Hold on to it. See how it fits in how your day unfolded today. Tuck the information away in your heart, and see where it leads you. Yeah. And if it didn't resonate with you, that's okay. No problem. Let it lie. You don't have to pick it up. Possibly be the messenger. Share it with someone that you know that's looking for the information or would like the conversation. Either way, it's good. It's good. Yeah. With that, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 Central for tomorrow's card read, and we'll see what Spirit has to say tomorrow. And thank you, everybody, for joining me this afternoon. I appreciate it. Love hanging out with you guys. And Rochelle says, I'm in the process of changing. Yeah, I think we all are, Rochelle. We all are. Yeah, you're welcome, Christine. It's good to see you here. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Ba Mamina. Until we see each other again. Love you guys.